Hey guys, welcome back to Sweat Equity. I just thought I'd bring my snowblower around to the driveway just because, you know, they're talking about getting snow this week, and I put this up in the shed, you know, last winter. This is actually the free snowblower that I got sometime last year. I did not do a video on this, or I did a video of me using it. That's all that it was. I tried to start it and it did not start. So we're gonna kind of look into it, see what's going on with it. What I do remember from last year is that the electric start does not work. It runs, but it doesn't actually engage anything. So we're gonna try that in a minute, but first I'm gonna just try to start it again. Just see if maybe, so it's definitely got gas in it. I mean, it's not that, you know, it couldn't be that old, more than just a year. So basic steps, you know, you don't use these things for a long time, you may forget, but basically you've got your throttle right here. All the way down would be stop. So you can feel there's a notch there. That's slow. And all the way up is fast, or just, you know, normal run position. And then this is the choke. It's on a separate control. So all the way to the right is choke on. And then this is like the key, if you will. All it does is it's just kind of like a kill switch. Anyway, so this has to be in place. Choke to on. We're just going to have it up to fast. Then you have your primer bulb, and I'm going to push that a few times. Oh, well, that might be a clue right there. We've got some leakage happening right there. So, I'm not sure if you can see this or not. Oh yeah, it's just pouring out the side of the bowl, I think. All right, so we gotta get this cover off and see what's going on. All right, so we got 5/16 bolts right here. And there's a Phillips right there. So this is actually like legit. Like, this is something that I'm dealing with right now. You know, this thing was working fine when I put it away last year. And you go to pull it out and it's not working. So we're going to see what it's going to take to get it working again. What else we got here? Okay, there's another, looks like it's either a Phillips, probably a 5/8 also over on the back side. Pull the choke actually off, the knob that is, just kind of snake it past. So it's just kind of coming right out of there. So that tells me that the actual float, needle or seat is sticking. So we might just be able to get lucky and just kind of hit that. See if we can just kind of knock it loose. Let's just let's just see what we get here. We still have this in here. It's all the way up. I can kind of smell gas, so the issue might be that we don't have spark. The spark plug is pretty loose. It's 13/16. doesn't look wet at all. So what we're going to do is just take a little bit of carb cleaner and just spray it down in the hole. I'll put it back in. So this way, if it coughs a little bit right now, we know that it has spark. That the issue is all with the carburetor. All right, so it looks like the carburetor is dirty, and that could be my fault because I don't think I didn't drain it of fuel, obviously, because there was fuel in there. Just by we kind of primed it up here. You know, we gave a little shot of juice, and it got the fire, and then I was able to start running off the carburetor. But as soon as I put it, you know, all the way up is full throttle, as soon as I started to bring it down to idle, it just died. So the idle circuit on the carburetor, I think, is dirty. Let's see if it'll start back up now on full throttle again. I might need to choke it again. It also, you know, hasn't run in a long time too, so you might just need to kind of warm up a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely running lean. You know, that popping and the surging is a lean, kind of a lean surge. And you know, just by bringing it down, not even to idle, I mean, I was only coming down about halfway, and it would just start to get even worse, even more lean. And the further off choke you go, the worse it runs, because you know, so your idle circuit is like 10% of the normal running circuit. So you know, right now the best we can be is at like 90%. We've kind of lost that 10%, so it's running lean. And then you know, the way you can kind of counter that is you just keep it running on more choke, and it kind of does the same thing, but it's not going to run very good that way. So definitely need to take the carburetor apart and give it a little bit of a clean. This does actually have a shutoff on it. I don't know if it works or not. It was turned on. I'm just going to take this Phillips out to take this off of the cover, so I can get the cover out of the way. I could take this little push-on terminal here off, but then it's going to make it looser. And you can always tighten it up, but I prefer to not have to mess with that at all if I could. So we're just going to do that. Get that out of the way. Now there's a Phillips on either side. So this side's Phillips. Yeah, it's not very, I mean, it's tight, but not over tight. Looks like last year I had to use vice grips on this. Let's see that. See, it must have been really seized on there. Things don't need to be that tight. I mean, you'd be amazed at how loose things are supposed to be in comparison to how tight most people think that they need to make something. If you actually take a torque wrench and torque something down, and then kind of feel that by hand, you'd probably be surprised. You know, something like this, maybe 5 or 6 foot-pounds, or actually it would be measured in inch-pounds because it's so light. And so we've got the fuel line right there, which is going to leak at least some, but it should stop. And if you don't want to mess with the carburetor at all, I mean, you can buy these things for not much, probably like $10 to $15, I would say. And I was getting some for riding mowers that were like $20, $25. So for this, it should theoretically be even less. Gas is shut off. And we'll just see if we can sneak that out of there. I probably should have paid attention to where that was. I think it was in that middle hole because that has a little bit of marks on it. And then there's just this little hose right here. This is actually the primer. That's the primer hose. Just pushes air into there, and some kind of magic happens. I'm not entirely sure how that works. Probably should have something slightly cleaner over here. All right, so I think what we're going to do is just take the bowl off of it. So this is actually main jet, so all these have to be clear. Seems to be. Sorry, the wind picked back up again. It's pretty new, so hopefully these gaskets are okay. Yeah, so there's a little tiny bit of water in there. If you can see that. The little blob at the bottom. I may have put stable in the gas when I first brought it around here, and then if I use that up and then added more, that may have been what happened, as it didn't have any in it. So this is the float, and then I'm not going to actually take it all the way out, but right there, it pushes up on what's called the needle, and then the needle pushes against a stop or a seat at the top. It's just like a little rubber grommet. So when it's up, it will not allow any more fuel to come in, so it won't spill over. So it keeps just the right amount of fuel in the bowl. When the level goes down, the flow comes down, and starts letting gas back in again. And everything looks pretty clean in here, so I think I'm just going to kind of give this a quick little clean like this, and just kind of hope for the best. This is really usually all you have to do if it's not running when you pull something out for the first time of the year. Normally what ends up happening, I mean, you can see all the dirt that's just come out of this just by, I mean, some of that was from the outside. I'm just spraying stuff in my eyes again. And we're gonna make sure that this thing is clean. There's just there's just holes. There's holes right here. This is what actually is sucking up the fuel, because this is the outside right here. So this goes up here like that. So those holes are basically right at the bottom. And it does actually have like a little recess area right here, which I think is actually designed to hold the water. Like there was a little bit of water in there, so that'll stay below it because they don't mix. The water will stay at the bottom. So that's where it sucks it up. And there's another little hole right there, which doesn't really look like it's clear. Did I get you? And you just take like a wire brush, like once to try to grab one of the bristles, just go through all the holes, just make sure everything is clear. If you got an older carburetor, this gasket right here is probably going to be hard as a rock. So if you put it back together, it's probably going to leak, which is probably why in most cases it's going to be better just if the carburetor's been on there for more than 5 years, you're probably better off just buying a new one. But if that's still okay, you can do this. Just clean out all the nastiness. This was clear. I think this is that port, the hose for the primer bulb. Sometimes those can go bad too. The bulb can go bad, or the hose itself can get a crack in it and it won't actually blow anything into it. And this pin right here will actually just fall out if you're not careful, because the only thing that actually holds that in is the bowl when it's up around it. So just be careful of that it doesn't just fall out, you don't lose it. So we're gonna just go ahead and see how that does. Just doing that little clean right there, pretty much just getting out any obvious dirt and cleaning out the main jet right here. And then this, I'm gonna try to line up this U shape with this U shape right here. I think you could probably kind of put it any way, but obviously that's the way it's supposed to be. And there's a little gasket right here that seems to still be okay. Just give it a quick little snug because it already wants to chew that little gasket up. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it back on. And we'll see what that did. So you can see, you know, it didn't want to start from the other day at all. I probably pulled on it a good 10 or 15 times. Didn't want to start today. And then it did end up starting when I put a little bit of carb cleaner down the spark plug hole, which took like 2 seconds to do that. And it at least ran. So if you're in a pinch, you could try that and see if it gets it going. But really just taking this one nut off, taking the bowl off, and kind of giving it a quick clean is probably all you're going to need to do in a lot of cases. Alright, so I'm going to put this linkage back in. I'm going with that middle hole right there because that seems to have a little, like, a little bit of rust on it, I guess. There is supposed to be a gasket right here, which seems to have fallen off. Yeah, it's down here. So there is supposed to be a little paper, I think it's paper, gasket between the carb and the intake tube there. Just gonna try to push these both through it. Make sure the gasket's lined up. Oh, yeah, you gotta hook the fuel line back up too, kind of while it's still loose a little bit. Kind of run like through the engine on these things. And they also don't have air filters. Snowblowers don't have air filters. There's nothing in front of this, you know. And the reason for that is that they run when it's snowing. So there's literally not going to be any dust. And to take it a step further, you know, the really moist air and the snow and everything that is blowing around is probably going to end up clogging up an air filter or freezing in, you know, the water droplets may actually end up freezing in the air filter, and then it's just not going to run at all. So they just kind of take the lesser of the two evils and just don't run an air filter at all. I put that hose back on, but I still got to put the clamp on it. The clamp is there, I just have to slide it back down. See if I can do that without. Like, I'm going to turn the fuel back on. I'm going to try to start it. Kind of tricky to get this one back in here. I'm gonna see if I can just sort of hold that nut with my finger while I turn the screw from the Phillips side of it. Hopefully I can get it caught. Yeah. And I'm not even putting a wrench on these because it seems like once it gets tight, it has these little like lock washers built into them, so they kind of will not spin. So I'm just slugging it down with my hand, my wrist, like that. I think that is good enough. Let's see. So now just have this little hose from the primer bulb. Put that back on. And I think that's it. Yeah, just gotta put this back in. And this is just a ground, you know, ground out the, when you put the key in, it pushes this away. So this is like an little insulated piece of plastic that has this metal running through it that's connected to this. So when the key is out, it's grounded, so you're not going to have a spark. Put it in, it takes it away, and it's not grounded anymore. But that would need to be connected to the rest of the chassis to have that ground though. So we're going to have to put this back on. Alright, so let's slide this back off. I gotta put this on. Yeah, so this just basically had a screw here, which may not have even been there actually. Or no, that's this. So that's where this goes. Screw there. There's these two screws, and then a screw back here. No, okay, there it is. There's two little locating tab thingies. Just put that back in. Yeah, so I guess this, if it's off, not connected to the rest of the chassis, it wouldn't matter if the key's in or out. That's basically how that would work. So it would run without it. But we're just gonna hope for the best and put it back together. I mean, it ran before, it just ran like crap. There's the two hex heads right here. I'm just gonna put them all in and get them started. The Phillips only was this one. One back here was Phillips and hex, so go figure why we need to have so many different kinds of bolts. Alright, we'll check the oil. Don't remember if I changed this oil or not last year. It's not really like me to not change it, but it didn't look very clean on that dipstick. It's hard to say because it's, maybe I just added oil to it. Probably should change it. We'll see if it runs a little bit better first. Let it run a little bit and mix it all up, and we'll drain it. And it's kind of, it's definitely got oil in there, but it's pretty dirty. I mean, when you have clean oil, you can barely even see it. It's pretty much clear. But it's got in there, got oil in there, so we can at least try to start it up again. Turn the gas back on. There's just a little valve over on this side. Just right down here. I don't know if you can see that. But when it's in line with the hose, it's on. If it's across, if it's like this way, then it's off. So right now I just turn it back to where it's going to flow. Put it back to choke, all the way up. right, so it seems to be about the same, and I don't think that that's anything that a cleaning of the carburetor is going to do. I think that the sometimes what happens is that the main jet, the hole is just a little bit too small, and you can actually open it up a little bit. But again, you know, if you're dealing with these kind of situations, you're probably going to want to end up just replacing that carb anyway. They're so inexpensive, and you can see it comes off really easily. You know, if you're having that much issues with it, you probably just want to go ahead and take it off and replace it. But if it wasn't running and you need to use it right away, you can at least get it going. And what I've always noticed with these things is once they're kind of like working and under a load, a lot of times they smooth out and they don't surge really at all. Sometimes, even if it surges like that at idle, you can always try running it on choke a little bit more. You know, the main purpose of this video was, you know, you pull the snowblower out, it doesn't work, you need to use it like right now, it's snowing. This is something that you can do to get it going, and that was kind of the main purpose of this video. So anyway, we're gonna cut it, well, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off for this one for now. We got it to work, it's fully functional, it drives, the auger works. Hopefully that's all good on yours. 90% of the time you're gonna have a fuel issue if it doesn't start when you get it out of the shed or the garage, wherever you keep it. You know, when it's been sitting, normally that's going to be the issue. And hopefully this video was helpful for someone, and if so, I would appreciate a like, a subscribe, and a share, or any of the above. So anyway, until next time, peace. So I just thought I'd look into the electric start. I just pulled this off. It actually was loose. It's basically just the 2 bolts on the bottom, and the ones on the top just kind of, you can just have them loosened a little bit and they'll slide out, but the teeth just completely wore off. So I'll have to look into that. I don't know if I can just do what I did with that MTD tractor I had and just get a new gear for it. Like this just looks like this is a cover right here, but if you look up inside of there, the teeth on the flywheel look fine. I don't see where they're ripped off or anything. So, and this motor does run. When we got this thing last year for free, it was originally listed as being seized up or something like that, and then someone else took it first, and he was able to get it to run. And then I forget what it was that he kind of thought he was in a little bit over his head, so he ended up getting in touch with the next in line, which was me, and I came and got it. So I wonder if this was the issue with it all along, and it was actually seized. Oh, what's that? I can just take it right off. I'm literally learning as I go here. I don't know. No, okay, that's riding on that. Yeah, so this is supposed to come in and out just like a riding mower starter. But these run off of AC though. All you do is, there's no battery, you just plug in your extension cord right here, press this button, and it will run. I can actually probably show you with it off. So you see it works. So I'll look into seeing if I can just get a new gear for it, and if not, the whole starter, and we'll see what that gets us.